Now, before I make any points, I want to make something perfectly clear. This is a shooting test. Epic Games is interested in feedback. Even if you don't agree with me here today, because what I have to say is critical, and I'm going to be offering constructive criticism on why it's not the greatest it can be and how to make it improve. If you don't agree with what I have to say, I urge you to voice your opinion as well, whether it's making your own video, posting on Reddit or their forums. It's Epic Games' job to objectively listen to both sides and make changes accordingly. First, I want to compare both shooting models side by side. Our first shooting model is our current one, and that is Cone of Fire plus Bloom plus Hit Scan. This shooting model is very simple. Every gun in the game has a Cone of Fire, and if you crouch or aim or do both, it shrinks the Cone of Fire differently, and when you shoot, it blooms and gets bigger, and your chance to land on the center dot decreases with each shot. This is a system that is luck-based. You just put your Cone of Fire on your target and hope you hit your shots. This is not very popular. A lot of people have been critical about this, so they are imposing a new shooting model today. This new shooting model that they're testing is practically the same thing. The only difference is that when you reach your minimum Cone of Fire, whether standing or crouching, your bullet has a chance to shoot on that dot 100% of the time. The second shooting model is obviously better. There's consistency if you want there to be. But there are some problems with it that I would like to see looked at. So I'm going to be numbering my points from here on out. I'm not aiming for a top 5 sort of thing. I'm just trying to keep this organized if Epic happens to look at this. My first one, number 1, is the 4 steps. There are 4 steps you must go through if you want consistency to be a thing. The first one of the 4 steps is you must stop. Second, you must take aim. Third, you must wait. You have to wait for that red dot to show up. And number 4, you shoot. Now, the 2 parts that bug me about this is that you cannot be moving. You absolutely can't be strafing left or right if you want your shots to go straight. And then also, you have to wait for your first time going for that red dot to show up. If you're crouched and you have that red dot and then you slightly move, the red dot basically comes back instantly. But if you're in a dead sprint and you see someone, you crouch, you aim, you have to wait a good amount of time. I would say up to a second, depending on the gun, before you're able to shoot in a straight line. And that's potentially life ending. Like, you could get sniped and you're back in lobby before you even had a chance to shoot a straight bullet. The other 2 are pretty obvious, and I'm glad they're in the game. I think you should have to aim and you should have to shoot. But I believe there should be some movement allowed. You should keep that red dot while strafing left and right, trying to throw off your opponent's aim. I think it's very important to have some sort of outplay movement in a 1v1 situation. And then also waiting for your first shot accuracy to kick in. It's not instant. The second you stop and aim, it's not there. You can't shoot straight the moment you take aim. And I don't think I've seen that in any other game ever. And I think there's a reason why. My second point and problem with all of this is that it's being tested in squads. And the shooting model actually works really great in squads. I mean, a shooting model that requires you to peek and wait for your shot to go straight before you fire actually synergizes pretty well with teammates that can potentially draw fire away from you and give you a window to shoot back. My problem with it is that when you're in squads, you're not always being shot at. You're not always the center of your opponent's attention. And being in a solo game, a 1v1 situation, you are the center of your opponent's attention. So I haven't actually been able to test what it's like to just have a one-on-one duel with someone, and how does that waiting for the red dot really impact a gunfight? Now, my third point is something I've already kind of touched on, but I think there should be outplayability in this new shooting model, whether it's a skill ceiling imposed that will offset your bullet travel by a certain amount of degrees depending on the way you're traveling, if that makes sense. For example, if you're strafing left or right, the bullets might actually go a certain amount of degrees left or right of that center dot. That's just an idea. It would impose a skill ceiling and a learning curve to it, or they could just take the simple route and allow movement while maintaining first shot accuracy. This would also set up for crouch spamming, so you could constantly be throwing your head hitbox up and down, left and right to avoid being shot, and it would require better precision and better tracking to actually down you. Like, just imagine with me for a sec that if this game had a crazy shooting model with great outplay mechanics and a huge skill ceiling. And that's all on top of the skill ceiling and outplay mechanics that building offers. Like, could you imagine a great builder versus a great shooter? Like, who would win that? This game has some crazy potential, and it's simply just the randomness that the shooting offers is holding it back quite a bit from the esports scene. And I would love to see this game in the esports scene, because honestly, the Fortnite build-offs that you can find anywhere on YouTube, like the craziest fights I've ever seen in any video game, lasting upwards of like 5 minutes. I don't know, I just get excited thinking about what this game could be. But anyways, I'm gonna move on. My last point, sort of a statement, and that's the shooting model that you leaked in December. That was actually great. I mean, I don't know why we're not testing that now, because when you ADS, whether you're strafing or not, those shots went straight, and they also had a heavy recoil system imposed on them. And also, this is a system that works really well for console too, because, you know, we can't really have projectiles in this game and do cross-platform with PC having projectiles and console having hit scan, because we all know how great projectiles would be with joysticks. Basically, that December shooting model got rid of the randomness when ADSing, and it's a system that works great on console. I saw the one in December, and I was actually really excited and hopeful that it would have officially come back as shooting model test 1 in February, but it turns out it was something completely different and still depends on randomness at times. It's definitely an upgrade, but that one in December, I think that just needs to be shooting model test 2. I would really like to see and play that one. Don't forget, everything here is just my opinion. You're welcome to leave yours below if you disagree or agree with me. I understand everything's subject to change. This isn't the only shooting model test coming through. I'm going to continue to be patient and hopeful for this game, because Epic has failed to let me down so far. But with all that said, I will see you guys in my next video. Peace out, everybody.